Hey guys and girls, how's it going? My name is Rohit, this is Driver's DNA, and today we're going to talk about the 2021 Ford Bronco. Let's get into it. Alright guys, well, if you've been living under a rock or for some reason hadn't heard, the Bronco is making a comeback. And that is super cool to hear about, of course, because that's one of the most sought after cars today. We've actually heard, from different auctions and things like that, this sort of style of SUV, the sort of two-door, slightly smaller SUV, the ones very off-road capable, are making a huge comeback in terms of, even the older ones are going up in value, right? Like the old K5 Blazers and Land Rover Defender, of course, we've heard about recently as they just re-released. So it's awesome that, Ford has come back into the game with Bronco, and as popular as it has been for so long and with such a long gap. So first of all, let's talk about the design. It looks awesome. I like the way that they modernized a now 20-plus-year-old car you can still tell it's a Bronco definitively by looking at it, but it's done in a nice modern way where even looking at the front grille, and I'll throw up pictures for you guys as we're continuing through this. They kept the nice, single circular headlights, like that a lot. It's very clean. And then in the center, you have a similar, style grille from before. You can definitely tell it's, a Bronco grille. But I like that, especially like we've seen on the Raptor in the past generations, where they write Ford in the center in giant letters across the grille. They did that here with Bronco. It looks really cool because you can tell this is one of their special products. Just like kind of on the Mustang, you don't really see any Ford logos. Here, even on the steering wheel on the inside, you don't see Ford or anything. It's all got its own Bronco logo and stuff. Looks really awesome. I love that they went with both 2 and 4 doors, especially, coming back in competition with Jeep Wrangler, which for this many years, especially since 2000 forward all the way to now, has been the only real American car in this segment. In the sort of small off-road SUV segment, there really hasn't been anything else. If I'm forgetting something, let me know in the comments, but it's nice to see that they're coming back and joining that market. So especially now recently with the Land Rover Defender as well. And so they went with both 2 and 4 door styles, which is really good for, if you have kids or people need to put in the back. You don't want to be having to deal with folding the seats back. It's a big mess. So I like that they went with both options. That definitely means, more people are going to consider this. So the other really interesting thing is the base price of this car is less than 30 grand. It's $28,500, which is really impressive for that. You get 270 horsepower, and it can seat up to 5 if you get the 4-door model. So that's really neat. And even the base model doesn't look bad. And I like that they started with a nice price point for sure. Because especially with a new car coming back in, you don't want to be more expensive than the existing competition, so that's really solid. So the other really interesting thing with this sort of segment, this sort of smaller off-road SUV segment, is one, there are not many players in it at the moment, so it's smart that they came back now. But 2, I think it's a really interesting marketplace to fill right now because of the fact that back in the 70s, 80s, 90s, pickup trucks weren't as huge as they are now. Comparatively they were big, but still it was never unruly, right? If you go back now and drive a 90s F-250 or something like that, it's gonna feel tiny. It's gonna feel like an F-150 from today. So it's really interesting that these smaller SUVs are making a comeback as off-road vehicles because take the Raptor for example. It's awesome, don't get me wrong, but it's not exactly the most practical car to take into downtown for work, or if you live in a cramped city, it's not always going to fit everywhere, right? It's so wide and huge, and all trucks have kind of just grown. I mean, all cars have. So it's nice to see that there is this new, or this marketplace that's reopening for smaller off-road SUVs, where cars like the Bronco, the Wrangler, the Defender, and all these things are going to sit, which is really, really cool. And it kind of gives you another option if you want to have, your doors off, roof off fun for going off-roading and then just coming back. Like it's a super interesting segment to fit back into, and of course the Bronco is so popular. I mean, it's going to be flying off the shelves. So the other really interesting thing that I like that they did in comparison to you know, existing competition and other stuff is like they made it easy to do the things that the Bronco needs to do and that people, the fans of this car, are really going to expect, which is taking the doors off, taking the roof off, and like just being able to go wherever you want, right? And so one of the really interesting features with this car is that it's super easy to take the doors off. Like you don't have to like leave them at home. You can actually bring them with you. There's you know, Ford gives you bags and spots to put them in the trunk so that they can always come with you. And if, you know, once you're done messing around in the mud and rocks and you want to come back into town and you need the security of a door, you can just easily stick it back on. There's like a toolkit that they provide, and you can just take a couple bolts off, and there's like a quick snap off, you know, I guess part of the wiring harness that just comes off for your window switches and everything in the door. And they provide a sleeve for you to put your door into so it stays nice and clean and there's no, you know, dust and dirt and things scratching it up, and you just throw it in the trunk and you're good to go. Like that is solid thought. I like that they went with that. That is pretty neat. And now let's talk about engines, transmissions, and all that fun stuff. So the Bronco is going to have two engine choices, which is the 2.3 liter EcoBoost turbo and the 2.7 liter 6-cylinder EcoBoost turbo. So the 2.3 is, I mean, these are all, you know, engines that we've already seen before. They're not brand new for you know, this car, which in a way is a really good thing, because I don't know about you, but if I'm out in the desert like 50 miles away from society, I don't want to be stranded because my engine stalled out from like overheating or something, right? So I'm glad that they went with, you know, engines that are tried and tested and that they know that work. So the 2.3 of course is like found in things like the Focus RS and stuff like that, so we've seen it before. And the 2.7 is in like things like the F-150 and like a couple of Lincolns. So it is good that they're going with engines that we've already seen. And so I'll make sure, you know, when you're out, you know, doing 100 miles an hour through the desert or rock crawling or whatever, that, you know, hopefully everything will be okay. And then for transmissions, you get two options again. They do provide a manual, which is really interesting. And so it's a 7-speed manual with like 6 sort of Rio driving gears and like 1 crawling gear. And other than that, the automatic version is of course the well-known by now 10-speed automatic. So I guess for the turbo motors that works really well because it keeps you in the power and torque band. So that's good that they're using stuff once again that we've already seen before. It's in the Raptor, it's in the Mustang, and in, you know, other GM products. So that's really cool that, you know, everything in here in terms of like powertrain stuff we've seen before, so we know it's going to work. So that's really solid there. And now the other really cool thing with this that I like is that option, like a factory option, which I don't know if I've seen this one before. This is pretty solid. A factory option is getting 35-inch tires from the factory. So you don't need to like buy your Bronco on tiny tires and then take it straight to the tire shop and put on, you know, big rubber. Like they give it to you from the factory. That's a really, really cool thing that I'm not sure that I've seen from many other companies. So that is a really solid choice. I definitely dig that. And then let's go into like some of the different, like they have some really interesting names for some of the like the trim levels and stuff. So we have like, obviously we mentioned the base model that starts at 28,500. Then you have the Big Bend, the Black Diamond, the Outer Banks, the Badlands, the Wild Track, and then there's the first edition, which is, you know, of course already sold out. That was of course expected, but yeah guys, let me know what you guys think so far in the comment section, you know, about this Bronco coming back. It's really cool, especially I'll throw up some interior shots as well. Like they have this giant screen in the center. I think it's supposed to be a 12-inch screen, so it looks super modern. I mean, obviously I'm sure it'll have Apple CarPlay and all that stuff, although don't quote me on that. But you know, I'm sure they'll provide all the normal creature comforts we're used to. And this just looks like it's going to be a solid car, so I'm excited to see what happens once it actually releases it and people test it. But yeah, guys, let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Is this something you're excited for? Are you guys Bronco fans? And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Please drop me a like and subscribe if you enjoyed. I'm definitely coming out with a lot more content. Thank you guys for watching. I'll catch you guys in the next one.